I slowly started to jettison off behavior that was detrimental to me pursuing my professional highest calling. And you'll hear me tonight talk about two distinct parts of life, the professional highest calling and the spiritual highest calling. And I'm going to try to help you bring those two together, because one without the other is meaningless. I started teaching tennis. I started teaching wealthy people tennis. I was a pretty good tennis player when I was a young boy, and I unfortunately gave that up for the life of a delinquent. I picked up the racket again and I started playing. I got good enough to become a certified teaching professional. Now, it was a wonderful living. I went from making $4.50 an hour to $50 an hour. You'll remember, even though you're not a tennis fan, back in the 80s when I would have been teaching, there were players like John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors and that kind of thing. Today it's Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. The clothing, the difference between today, which is capri pants, right? They're playing in the long, long baggies. And for those of you who are around or can remember pictures from the 80s, you remember the tennis shorts? Embarrassingly short shorts, man. And so they were so short, and I was making so much money teaching tennis. I would go home at night. The fabric of my pocket hung down lower than the fabric of the pant because I had so many $50 bills in there. Literally, I would come home and I'd pull my shorts out and I'd dump the $50 bills on the table. Now, I'm 19 or 20. I'm teaching in some very affluent communities. It's my own business. I'm not working for anybody. I'm the director of tennis. I went from, I skipped assistant pro, head pro. I went to director of tennis because I could. Because I printed my own business cards. I could say what I wanted to. I wasn't working for anybody, so I went to Kinko's and I got black leatherette cards, with the gold embossed writing. I consulted my birth certificate. My full legal name I wanted to put on there, but I'd never used it, and I didn't know how to spell my first Francis. Not, is it E-S or is it I-S? Thank you. I had to... It was I-S. I looked, Francis Edward McKinney III. It sounds like money, right? And that's what I put on the card. It wasn't Mick. That was my nickname, Mickey. Mickey McKinney, director of tennis. No, Francis Edward McKinney III, director of tennis. Then I could charge you $50 an hour. Made a great living. The most important thing, though, was the influence and the exposure to affluence. I earned my PhD in entrepreneurship, my master's in free enterprise on that tennis court, because I got to teach some of the wealthiest people in the world how to hit a better forehand and a backhand. And after a while, I was really pretty good at that. After a while, my curiosity got the best of me. How? John, you're a student. John just drove up to a tennis lesson in a brand new Mercedes. Just left his mansion. Out behind his mansion was a yacht. And you just kissed a Cindy Crawford lookalike wife goodbye. He's got a pretty big smile on his face. And he patted two beautiful kids on the head. So he had what... Now, rewind, men and women, rewind to your early 20s. Very impressionable, aren't you? And you're also materialistic. Very materialistic. And it was right at the time that Robin Leach had that show. Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And I saw people living it every day. And I wanted to live it. So, John, I would think in my mind, how... And John's not like this. John's all the way over on the other side of the tennis court. I want to get in your head. I want to learn from you. How did you get to live this life? But I've got to teach you for an hour. And then Kathy. I've got to teach Kathy for an hour. And then Kitka? I've got to teach Kitka for an hour. I came up with an idea. A conspiracy. What if... Most people have a lot of money. They have a lot of leisure time. They go out to dinner a lot. Exercise is kind of on the last of the list. Now, I'm fit, man. I could stay out on that tennis court 10 hours a day. I'm going to tire him out after 45 minutes. I'm going to purposely run you into the ground and Kathy and Kitka. So after 45 minutes, you can't finish. I bring you a towel and a cold drink. You're still paying me, by the way. You're still paying me for the last 15 minutes. And I get to sit him down and I get to ask him the question. How did you get to live like this? I'm so curious. You have everything that I've ever wanted. How? Now, the nice thing about people who have succeeded at a certain level, most of them have no problem telling you how they did it. Oh boy, were they ready, the Johns of the world ready to sit down and tell me how they did it. In that last 15 minutes, over a 2-year period of time, many students, I asked the same question.